Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. I apologize for that if I pushed the wrong button. But I really
Beautiful.
thank you all for this opportunity. This is very exciting for me. Um, my name is Pieternel, and that sounds kind of funny probably because, and you can hear it too with my accent. I come from Europe originally, but most of my life I worked in the healthcare industry. And 2 years ago, I moved to Northern Michigan and started doing what I always had dreamed of doing, and that is helping people build homes. And so I feel like I'm really in the right spot right now for myself and for those around me. And I would like to share with you a little bit about what Homes 45 could be for those of you who are interested. We started out here as a real estate office, which we still are. And since 2008, when everything kind of came to a standstill in the world as far as building, we started running into problems with people not finding homes that they wanted to buy because there's a shortage of homes that are available. And we said, okay, how can we solve that? And um, a couple of years ago, we had an agreement with Heckerman, who is a modular home builder out of Indiana. And most recently, we added another company, New Era, to that mix. And we started helping people build their homes right here in Northern Michigan. Initially, we farmed out the contracting piece to whoever local contractor the person wanted to go with. But last year, Hannah, who Richard mentioned, who is my supervisor, got her license, her building license, and so now we have that in house as well, and we can control the process much better this way. Um, but I would like to walk through these slides with you. I have some more information. And then in the end, I'm going to make this very short. In the end, I would like to be available for any questions that you may have for me. So the next slide is Homes 45. Our real estate side of our business is Key Realty, who are our headquarters right now for us here in Northern Michigan is in Traverse City. We are a site office for them, and our real estate team is referred to as the team. So we have three components. We are on the west side of Gaylord located, just past Myers, on the other side of the street, on the same side as Kohl's. So what we offer is Boca new builds. And Boca homes, for those of you who are may not be familiar with it, are basically off-site stick-built homes. That's how I refer to them. They arrive in boxes, and what we can do is we can help you order your own home, and then you do or you arrange for your contracting on your own. We can have the home delivered to your lot, and we can set it on your foundation and then leave and have you finish the remainder of what needs to be done. Or we can do turnkey, which is doing everything from start to finish. Again, with either Heckerman or New Era providing the foundation of your home components. This is some pictures that I took like 2 weeks ago when one of our clients had their home delivered. And as you can see, this is in Mishaway. The foundation was built as a full basement that's not yet finished. And the home comes in pieces on trucks. And then a crane puts the pieces on top of that foundation. And when they leave on that same day, it really is not yet finished. You can see the siding is not completely on. They had to finish the roofing when they raised the roof on location and had to put the shingles on. So there is still a lot of work to be done, both before the home is delivered and after the home has been delivered to your site. And um, the total time frame can, at this time, can be approximately a year to a little bit more than a year. New Era can get your home delivered. If you were to walk into my office today and said, I want to order this home right now, it would come offline towards the end of the year, end of November, beginning of December, and it would look like this. So there's still about 4 to 6 weeks to sometimes 8 weeks in the winter of work to be done to completely finish everything that needs to be done that you would like to have ready. With Heckman, it's a little bit longer. They are a smaller company, and their offline date currently is in May of next year. So there is a lag of time right now, and that's because there is such a housing shortage, and they are very, very busy. So this is one of our builds right here. Here you see some sample homes. These are some of the bigger homes that if someone's interested in it could build. It can be done very simple, but you could also have lots of your own choices. And with a home like this, I really encourage my clients to use their imagination and to think about what is my ideal home, what is my dream home, and then find a floor plan that sort of fits, and then start playing around with it, because you can move walls, you can add windows, you can change colors, and you can do all kinds of things to make it into hopefully a final version of what you would like to have and see. So this is some of the bigger models. Here is, and I wanted to show you this for the reason of showing you what kind of things you can change. On the left-hand corner, you see a very small ranch style home. That's a 900 square foot home, and it's 2 bedroom, 1 bath. But that same house, you could finish as a cape with an open loft above, or with a finished loft with even bathroom and bedrooms upstairs. Or you can change the outside and add porches, gables, dormers, all kinds of things to make it your own. And you can do the same thing with the inside of the home. All of my clients make changes. And it's part of the fun of helping them, for me at least, helping them think that through, um, offer opportunities and choices, and helping people really make it so it's exactly what they hope to be, that it will be. Here is part of the process. So as a start, when I'm meeting with somebody walking in the door who was just starting to think about maybe building, I asked them if they have a building site. And I know many of you already have a lot, or could have a lot, because you have a beautiful subdivision that's part of your whole location at Song of the Morning. Another component would be budget. And it's good to think about that right from the get-go. And so for those clients that I have that need a mortgage for their build, I ask them to check with their bank and inquire about a construction loan. And most people don't know how construction loans work versus a regular mortgage, which they may be more aware of and familiar with. So that oftentimes is the starting point, as well as when they would like to see that home delivered and when they would like to move in, which determines whether they want to go with either New Era or with Heckman. Once that phase is sort of completed, then we're looking at all kinds of models, all kinds of floor plans and options, and I provide pricing, choices, options, help them think things through. Um, and once my clients are starting to say, okay, I think I got it, this is kind of what I want, I will also provide them with what could be estimates on turnkey. so that they have a good idea what the whole project could cost. And that I do even if they don't want to use us for turnkey. So at least um, there is a ballpark idea as to what the total project would cost if they were to hire their own contractor, in all likeliness. So once we have a go date, we we order the home, then we start to get bids to make sure that our estimate for a turnkey is appropriate and as accurately as possible. And we move through the whole process of starting to look at a survey of the lot. We stake out where the house goes. We talk with the homeowner, the future homeowner, where they would like to have their house, what direction the house should be, and where they hope to have their well and septic. And we plan it all out with them, all the way through handing them over the keys to their new house so they can move in. So that is the last part here on this slide. Want to also share, as a last piece, some considerations. Currently, and our pricing is, I would recommend anybody to shop around, of course. The pricing of materials has skyrocketed and is still not completely at a point where we don't hear from um, our subs or from New Era and Heckman that they will, in all likeliness, not have any other increases in pricing. Um, so it's fairly volatile right now where the pricing is. Um, will it come down at some point? Hopefully, but not anytime soon. And that's my personal opinion. And there might be others who know more than me, and hopefully it will come down at some point. But currently, if you were to pick one of our homes, approximately 900 to 1,000 square feet, 1 to 2 bedroom, 1 bath ranch, you put it on a crawl. You're omitting a garage right now, but you want the whole house finished so that you can move in and everything is there. It starts around 170,000. And that's without big upgrades or quartz or anything like that on the countertops. The same compare for approximately a 1,500 square foot ranch, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, which is, there's a lot of interest in that, in my clients, at least, that I see in this area. And they would like a garage and maybe on a basement, but this quote is for on a crawl. That would start more in the price range of about 250,000. And to me, those prices are quite a bit higher than they were last year because of all the material shortages and things that have to do with COVID, that probably, hopefully all of you are aware of. So some of the things that will impact pricing significantly, that I've seen, is excavation. If you have already a cleared lot or a fairly unwooded lot that is level, the pricing will hugely differ from when you have a wooded lot that needs to be cleared in part. And the same thing counts for a garage and size of garage, whether you have a crawl space or a basement, whether you are okay with a block basement or crawl space versus ICF, which is a little more expensive. And then, of course, your internal upgrades, like, do I want quartz or do I want something else on the counters? How many bathrooms do I want? Those add also to the price of the house. I also checked in with some of the local banks, and these are fairly recent local costs for mortgage rates, not construction loans, because construction loans are interest only, at least for the companies that our clients work with here in this area. But once you, at the end of your build, you transition from a construction loan into a mortgage, these are the current rates at this time. So these are the two components. You have the increased cost that's unpredictable of materials, but then we do have some really low mortgage rates that hopefully will balance for most people their interest and their ability to build. And looking at what the cost would be for that, here are two examples. So for a $180,000 home, putting down 20% for a 15-year fixed mortgage versus a 30-year fixed mortgage, including taxes and insurance, you can see the rates here, what the monthly fee would be, as well as the comparable for a $350,000 home. And I just wanted to give you some idea as to what that would be, ballpark. And I believe that is what I wanted to share with you today. And I'm open to questions.
Thank you. That was really helpful information. I'm wondering, I hear like getting contractors, is it just an outright nightmare and not always reliable and such? So for your turnkey, do you have very reliable contractors that you've worked with over time?
It's a very good question. Are you Patricia?
Yes, hi.
It says underneath, hi. Very good question. So up until last year, before Hannah got her license, building license, we were depending on local contractors. And what we would do is we would have a client who would order a home from us, and then we would hand them off to a local contractor. And we would pick local contractors who we know and trust and still work with at this point. But to have more control over that process, that's exactly why Hannah got her license. And we have an internal crew that we work with currently. We started building with them about 6 months ago. We are a couple of houses in, and it's going very well. It's going very well. And I can tell you, I'm looking at the board right now with home orders that we have received in the last couple of months. We have about, I would say, 15 home orders that we got in just the last 2 months. So yes, I'm counting on all of those being built in a timely fashion and finished in a timely fashion. That's what I tell my clients. And knock on wood, I hope that we can provide that service. I trust that we can, just because we're Hannah and the other folks that work with me here. I'm fairly new to the area, as I told you, but these folks are born and raised here. They know everybody, and they know all the good folks, and there are great relationships in place. So if you choose us for your general contractor, I would say, yes, you can trust that you get things done.
Okay. Well, thank you. I guess I'm on a roll. I'll ask one more question. So if you were to build like the 900 square foot, 2 bedroom, 1 bath house, and then what would a garage cost? Is that adding on like 30 grand or?
About 30 to 35, yes.
Okay.
Well, it depends. That's a big two car, 24 by 24 garage. So if you would be okay with a 1 car garage, then, look at about 20,000 probably.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a question. If I were to come to Gaylord, would it be an appointment-based meeting that we'd have to have, or can I get your email, or will there be a way to get that information to contact you after this call?
Well, hopefully you can see the screen. It has my email address and my phone number on it. I live about 5 minutes from the office, and while I don't work every day, I certainly will be here if you are in town and if you'd like to stop by. Our office is open every single day of the week. So Monday through Saturday, we are open from 9 to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 2. So somebody is here during that time. And if you would like to meet with me, I can certainly be here as well and meet with you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Bruce. I was wondering about the requirements for a crane coming in. I mean, obviously that it takes quite a bit of room to position it. I wonder if you could talk about that.
Yes, that's a very good question too. We actually had that just happen with the build that I showed you on one of the slides. So if you would like to save most of the trees on a lot because you would like to be in the woods, you still need to think about where the crane will need to be in order to offload from the truck onto your foundation, but also space for your well and septic. So there is some clearing that needs to occur in addition to just the footage of the house. And I could go back to the slides, although I don't see the slides anymore. Did they go away? I think they went away. If I click on this, you can't see it, can you? No, I lost you now. Uh-oh. Am I gone? Okay.
No, we can hear you.
You're not
I
screen
can
sharing.
show
No,
you.
you're there.
You're there, but you're not screen sharing.
I'm not.
We
Okay. That's
we
fine.
can't see the slide.
So the crane is quite big. We with this last build, we put it right next to the foundation. And then there also needs to be a space for the truck to be parked right next to the house. So we do need to think about the driveway and where we can park it, making sand. And in some occasions, if the soil is fairly soft or if it's early in the spring, we want to make sure that we have some Afton stone down, that it's packed, that it's level, so that we don't get in trouble when we bring in the heavy equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good questions.
And I know you have a bridge, but the subdivision is before you get to the bridge. Is that correct? That's
Yes.
how.
Yes.
Okay.
Pieternel, what's kind of a rough way to estimate the difference, say on a 900 square foot house, if you choose a basement rather than the crawl space?
I would have to do a calculation, but I would say maybe $10,000. And that would be unfinished, but a block that you could finish later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pieternel, I noticed this different type of basement, which I didn't know what it meant.
Okay, the
The other
ICF
type of basement.
block.
ICF, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
So the ICF is like a port basement. It's what people prefer nowadays. It's a newer way of doing a basement. All the basements that I knew growing up were blocks, and then you finish it on the inside. It's I can show you a piece if you let me bring it out that you use to do that. If you give me a second, I'll go get it.
I just wanted to mention that there are about 4 brochures on the community webpage, events page, and I put a link in the chat window for our Zoom session here if you want to access Homes 45 brochures.
So can you guys see this?
Mhm.
So this
Yes.
is what would be put on. It's just styrofoam with in between, and it would be used to pour and get a finish that would look like this, and then you can finish the walls right on this material. And it's a little bit more of a high quality way of building your foundation. So, and we have a sample of that in the office. I could ship you some pictures too and information if somebody's interested.
Are walkout basements more pricey than just your standard walk down into basement?
The excavation cost might be a little more because you're talking probably a sloped lot. An excavation in general terms would be more expensive for that. In addition to that, you would would need a door and some windows, things like that. And of course, any basement you would want to finish would there would be a cost to finishing a basement or putting a bathroom down there. But an unfinished basement can be used very well for your furnace, for your water heater, for your washer and dryer, whatever you want to storage, etc.
You-
Do you find, imagine both these manufacturers offer the option of forced air or a boiler system, right? Is there a difference in price?
So, okay, that's a really good question, Richard. It's a little bit of a longer answer than maybe you think I would have. A New Era actually can provide higher end finishings in a home, and they can also you can also order your furnace and hot water heater and all your appliances through New Era. But for Heckman and for most of our clients, the house comes as a shell, finish as much as possible, and the furnace and all that would be done locally as part of the turnkey. And so whatever system you want to put in, we can put in. And it's all depending on what we order for you upon your request, and our local contractors and who work on this stuff will install it. And so the house will be prepped for that. If you need vents in the house for your system, they will put vents in there. If you want to omit them because you have a different system, then it will be made on site.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is another somewhat related question, like because we live in the forest, still really has some form of a generator, and many have the kind that go on automatically rather than just a hand start type of generator. Is it less expensive to put that in when the house is built, or doesn't that make any difference financially?
That I do not know. That's a very good question. It would be put in for you as part of the turnkey. It would not be put in by the home builder at Heckman or New Era. So it would make sense to build it in as we are, building your foundation and making your finishes. But I don't know if there's a difference in cost.
What do you think? You want to say something? Okay. In our experience, we did have ours put in when we built our house. And we were told that it was easier, for the wiring and everything.
That makes sense.
But I don't know if we saved the money, It's been a long time, so it was easier and more efficient. I can say that much. And you didn't have to have somebody come back out, they did it while the process was going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
Does anyone have questions about what kind of options you have and finishes? I know there is an interest in more of a temporary or contemporary or modern way by maybe some of you, because I talked to Richard about that. And as you saw on the pictures, on the renditions of the homes that I had as provided by New Era and Heckman, and coming from Europe too, where everything is ultra modern and contemporary, I think that there are some options that you can make it more that way. But fundamentally, the homes are not standard with the ultra modern components. And to me, that is just an opportunity to make those adjustments as much as possible, so you're still feeling and thinking that you are in a space that is balanced and harmonious and is according to the feel that you want to get from it, that fits you. And so what I want to say is that I would help those of you who would really want that, and I would like to explore with that person what the possibilities are to make that space exactly that way, even though maybe a Heckman and a New Era doesn't right out of the gate come with those components. Because I think there is a lot of flexibility and a lot of opportunities that can be built in and can be made by us, between the client and Homes45, that is different from what you see on those pictures. I hope that helps some of you.
I have something I'd like to ask you about financing.
Sure.
My question, here at Song of the Morning, we do not own our lots. We're leasing our lots. We have a 50-year lease that renews in perpetuity. And when I tried to get a loan last year, I had a lot of difficulty. In fact, I was unable to get a loan.
Okay.
Because of the lease, because it was a lease. So my question is, do you have specific financial institutions that you work with that will agree to give us construction loans that will convert to a conventional mortgage at the end of the process? Because that, for me, was a whole game changer. I mean, I was already set to go, and I have it had nothing to do with my credit or my down payment. Money, and I had good credit, but they just flat out would not. They were like, the lease, basically, they just said no. And I went to 3 different places. So do you have someone that will work with us?
I'll have to find out about that.
It's important.
Would they have given you a regular mortgage?
No.
Not either the construction or a regular mortgage. Okay.
Basically, the lease was the elephant in the room, and they would not go past that because they couldn't put like a lien on the property, I guess, because it's a lease and we don't own the lot. So I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, it's bad. I mean, if you're selling a home and you're taking all your equity out of the home that you own and you're going to pay cash for the thing, that's one thing. But if you want to get a loan, it's going to be hard.
Okay. Let me look around here and see if in town, and see if there's another if there is an opportunity there.
Now, I'd like to address that. We are able to get a loan now with state savings, and one of the people building has that. One of the homes being completed, and I know I've talked to Pieternel about this, and she's worked with them and thinks they're quite effective. I'm also trying to, or waiting to hear from somebody who used to do the major share of loans for Bayview, which has 450 homes, they're leaseholder estates. And so he's hopes to be able to open an office in Petoskey, but we do have at least one, and we put in our leases so that the companies can foreclose on them if they had to, if somebody didn't pay. So I'm not quite sure Tom, exactly I think you said you did go to state savings, but we already have somebody who's building who's got a loan. So maybe, and Peter Nellis worked with them. So maybe you could talk to Camille there again. And
I will do that.
Yeah.
I will talk
Yeah,
to Camille, find out.
You know, state savings, when I went to them, they will give you a loan, but they're not normal loan conditions. They're, you know, they're the ARM type of loan. You know, they're the 5-to-1 ARM, that kind.
apparently that's
Maybe it's changed, but when I spoke to them, it was a loan that I wasn't willing to go with, because it was a way more expensive than, you know, normal. So,
I talked to Pieternel about this, and she said that they do offer the same as other banks, a 10-year, 15, and you know, that once they convert from the construction, and that's kind of typical apparently. So
well, I'll have to talk to them again.
Yeah, I'll be happy to provide some information on this as well. I'm curious about your specific situation with the leasehold.
Yeah, because if I can get financing, then that changes a lot of things for me.
I have another question. You mentioned Bayview. Like, I like old houses, and you know, even I went through Bayview recently, and you know, even they have small one-story ones with the porch on front and such. Do you think you have any designs that maybe would look more like an older house?
I think what's wonderful about this way of building is that you're not left in the lurch where you have to start from scratch and design the whole thing on your own, that you can start with a foundation that's already in place, but then you have the opportunity to make it your own. And so whatever your dream house looks like, I would love to help you think through how you can make that happen. And not being able to look inside of your head, I'm just guessing that we can do that. I have not been to Bayview, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I would be surprised if we can't come very close to what you're hoping to see.
And then how much more does it cost if you want to have a fireplace? Typically?
Oh, good question. Both companies have either a gas propane or a wood burning fireplace in different kinds of styles too, that you can either vent through the wall or vent through the ceiling. You're talking about $3,500 to $4,000 extra, and that includes the mantle and the raised hearth and everything. The veneer brick, you know, all of it combined. When to do it is when you order the house, because if you have to do it later, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fairly reasonable. So thank you.
Yeah, Bayview is a community up in Petoskey, originally founded, I think, by the Methodists as like a summer place. And most of the houses were built in more or less the Victorian style back in around the turn of the last century.
Okay. Well, if I can, imagine a Victorian house, I'm not sure. You'd have to maybe get the outside unfinished, like forget the vinyl siding, right? You don't want the vinyl siding. So you would omit the siding. You can omit the shingles on the roof. You can just start with having the right form and then have it finished on site with shaker shingles, anything that you want that would make it what you think it should be. I think you can come close. They have round dormer areas too on homes where We have the circle rooms on the corners, you know, Victorian homes sometimes have that. There are some plans who have that. I'm taking up a lot of your time. Am I okay with taking this much time?
I just want to take a second to say why we have leasehold estates, because occasionally people find a negative thing about it. But Bayview, which is near Petoskey, is a historical village on a spiritual footing, which is Methodist. And it's been going for 130 years. And the reason is that it's set up, we're set up similarly to them with leasehold estates. And so to protect the spiritual aspect of a community, that's what they had to do, and they've never changed it. And it's amazing how they've progressed. They have 450 homes. They're having somewhat the same problem we are right now with getting a variety of loans. But I mentioned that I have somebody who's trying to get it for the 3 places, Lake Louise, which is also a leasehold estate, ourselves, and Bayview. And so I think if we keep at it, we'll have more variety of loans. But it's, you know, there are things that we can do that other communities can't do, and there are ways we can protect the future that they can't by having leasehold estates. And so we feel that's worth maybe a little bit extra work it takes.
Does anybody else have any questions for Pieternel?
I would just like to say that, and I don't know if this affects Song of the Morning, but Bayview a couple of years ago, they were, like I say, they were founded by the Methodists, and to be able to buy into that, you had to be a professed Christian and have a letter from a pastor or priest or something. You didn't have to be a Methodist, but there was a lawsuit alleging that was violating fair housing laws, religious discrimination. And so they had to amend their bylaws to allow or to get rid of that provision, which was very controversial in the community, but it was like a federal thing. So I'm just tossing that out there.
Yeah, Carol, do you want to address that?
Yeah, we both Richard and I want to say something to that. When our community was begun, we had nonprofit lawyers work with us at the beginning, and then the whole setup was reviewed just within the last 4 or 5 years. And our requirements for joining were stiffened at that point. And we do indeed have, we have probably the best nonprofit lawyer in the country that we consult with the different steps we take. So we're doing the best we can with that. We've not had problems so far, and Richard has something to say as well.
Well, I've recently reviewed all of Bayview's. I've been up there, reviewed all their documents. And actually what they have, they didn't lose a lawsuit, but they were intimidated by the cost it would be when one of the government bodies said they'd look at it. And so they broaden it a bit, but basically it's exactly the same that we have, is that you have to take out a membership, and when you do it, they tell you what their mission statement is. And you don't have to be a Methodist, but you have to respect their choice of the predominant choice. Now, they actually aren't, only in the last very short while in the last couple of decades do they even have a formal relationship with the church. They're not controlled or overseen by the Methodist Church. They have their own council. They make their own decisions. So it is, and we're the same way. You could be here as a Catholic, a Buddhist, but when you do the tour and that, we're asking people, it wouldn't make any sense living here unless you had a respect for our predominant viewpoint and our services that are from the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And otherwise, the same with Bayview. They've kept their spiritual viewpoint overall that appeals to the members. And otherwise, a person may as well, just find a subdivision that suits them that's non-denominational.
I wanted to add one thing. My name is John. As I recall, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the argument that the lawsuit concerned was, it was alleged that Bayview was performing a governmental function. Therefore, they could not discriminate in housing because they were a governmental unit. And we don't have that issue at all here.
Yeah. Yeah, we with the advice that we've been given by at least 2 sets of lawyers now, we're following the rules to keep us afloat as we are as a spiritual community. But, maybe we can talk about this further if we need to. I'm thinking other people might want to have other things to say. But I appreciate the Bayview intersection because we have similarities and some differences with them. And I hear what Tom is saying about the getting a loan. And Richard, I know, is working really hard to see if he can bridge that gap and find help for people. Does anybody else have anything for Pieternel? I don't know if you want to go on with your day or if you want to stay on the meeting with us, but we really, really appreciate your coming on the meeting today. It's very, very informational for me, and I'm not building, but I talk to people who are, so I like to keep up on what's going on. Any other questions? Comments?
I think what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, go ahead.
I will leave the meeting so that you
Okay.
can have your own meeting. I don't want to intrude. But I want to thank all of you, and I hope you'll all have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Okay.
Thank you,
Yes,
Peter.
Steve.
Thank you very much.
You.
Yeah, you've just been delightful. Thank you so much. Okay.